Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Eating While Broke. I'm your host, Coline Witt, and today we have a very special guest and personal friend of mine, Nikal Fieldz, artist, writer, producer, is in the building. And this is a very special full circle moment. A lot of people, when they hear artist, writer, producer, you think of, hey, someone that you're seeing in your face all the time. Nick has worn a lot of hats where I feel like this is going to be a very educational moment in regards to like getting music placement, writing on albums, and what the hard lessons can be learned when you are writing on albums. So this is a really this will probably be a very entertaining interview, but I just wanted to highlight all of that. Prior to us even starting, I'm trying to like navigate, because you've had to navigate some pretty tough waters being in this industry for as long as you have. So
there's been some roadblocks, some hurdles, some throw myself off a bridge moments.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
So what are you gonna have me eating today?
Today I'm just gonna do a quick, simple little rice and beans.
Rice and beans.
And not like homemade rice, like out the package.
Mm-hmm.
Rice and beans.
Okay.
That I lived off of for about 2 months.
2 months every day, like 3 meals a day.
You might have got some tuna fish in there.
Ooh.
Next to it, here and there. You know, some chicken if it was a good week.
Oh my God. I've been making jokes that Nick's dish is going to be the
worst one.
No, it's actually a compliment to you. It's the brokest dish, but then again, it's actually not the brokest dish now that I think about it, because Inez may have been the brokest for today. But
I don't know. What would she make?
Hummus.
Garbanzo beans can get expensive. So,
well, all right. Well, let's get into you cooking for me. Right. So go ahead, start the rice and beans.
We're gonna get it going.
Mm-hmm.
So got some red hot for later. Half the sazon. I'm from New York, so upstate New York, Rochester. So I grew up with a lot of Puerto Ricans and Dominicans, and this is one thing. Except for they make homemade seasonings. I'm a gringo. I got to figure it out as I can.
Mm-hmm. So you got so you're gonna do rice, beans, hot sauce, and what'd you say that was?
That's it.
No, what's in the red packet?
The sazon.
Sazon?
Yeah, sazon. Seasoning.
Yeah. All right.
It's seasoning, yeah.
So take me back to what was going on in the era of it's red beans and rice, right?
Red beans and rice?
Yeah, red beans and rice.
Pinto beans. See, I'm using the pinto beans.
I call them red beans and rice. Those are red though, right? I keep calling. Every time I hear you say pinto, I think of white beans. Well, red beans and rice, guys.
I think the white beans are the cannelli beans.
Oh, okay.
I know all the beans. So we're just gonna dump that in there, and we're just gonna let that rock. Ain't much really gotta do. A little olive oil. Okay. Actually, I don't even need that. Just I'm glad you had some olive oil, because I ain't have enough.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I didn't even have no money for olive oil, so my rice would have been sticky.
I've never actually put oil in my rice.
I mean, is this the best way to do it? I don't know.
We're gonna find out together.
You know.
We're gonna find out together, because now I may add olive oil to my rice moving forward.
Listen, the directions on the package says put some olive oil or some butter in it, so
Oh, okay.
Sometimes I follow directions, not very often, but occasionally.
Okay, so take me back to what's going on during the time of 2 months of living on this.
Wasn't long after I moved to LA, so moved to LA with some friends, and kind of came out, had a little bit of money saved up from doing some shit I shouldn't have been doing.
Like what? Selling drugs?
I mean,
it's okay.
Age-old tale. It's over 10 years. We good. It's over 10 years.
Funny,
we good.
Like, I would say 50% of people on Eating While Broke were drug dealers.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So, and coming out here, and anybody knows that's ever hustled drugs and shit like that, it's fast money, easy come, easy go.
Mm-hmm.
Not really easy because of what you're risking to get it, depending on what you're selling. But yeah, easy come, easy go. get these beans over here in here real quick. So and a lot of times I used to drain the juice. Now I just keep it. A little extra protein, because when you're broke, you need all the protein you can get.
You're hilarious.
Right?
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
So continue with your story on what's going on in this era.
So moved out here, had a little bit of bread, and you get caught up in the allure, as everybody does. So, and a friend of mine I moved out here with at the time had been doing really well. So first, I came out without the plans of work. I was currently signed to BMG as a songwriter at the time as well. Blew through my budget, or not my budget, but my advance. Didn't last long.
And that sucks because that advance had to be recouped, right?
Yes, supposed to be. Yeah, supposed to be. Oh,
that's hilarious.
Yes, it's supposed to be recouped.
So you ran through the advance.
I actually ran through most of the advance before I even moved out here, because I was living in New York City prior to, between there and Rochester. I had a radio show in upstate New York. And then I also was working in the studios. There was a point where literally squatting in BMG's old offices in Midtown.
Oh, wow.
Literally.
Did they know that?
Well, they had moved their offices out of the facility. And the building was still, I guess we still had access codes to the building for, I don't know, like 3 months. So there was a bunch of us that were.
A bunch of us?
Okay, let me not say a bunch, but yes, quite a few of us that were like signed and all hustling trying to get it. Because it always looks.
That's what I was about to say.
It's the glamour and glitz from the outside.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, "Oh, here's my big chain, I made it," but you don't see the shit you had to go through for 10 years of overnight success.
Yeah.
Which I'm still.
But it's crazy to think that an artist signed to BMG would be like squatting in the BMG offices, and then to hear more than one. Do you think that was a bad business, or just bad business on their part, or bad business on you guys mishandling your own money?
So it's a combination of both, in my opinion. So it's like, the industry is the industry. It's entertainment industry, in my opinion, is very feast or famine. Either you're fucking scraping to get by, to get your moment, or you're getting it. There isn't, and maybe after you get it, like you really crack something good, then.
Yeah, come sit with me. If you ain't stirring a pot, come sit with me.
Yeah, this is it.
I don't know if we explained to you, but when you sit down with me, you're gonna have to talk closer into these mics.
I'm losing my radio edge.
Yeah, so
I thought my lapel mic on my collar was it.
Let me tell you something. Nothing iHeart hates more than a lapel mic.
Oh, all right. Well,
yeah,
then here we go. Now I get to look into your eyes. Your eyebrows look great, by the way.
Thank you. They always, you know what I'm saying? Me and eyebrows. God bless me with some great ones. But yeah, just try to get as close as possible. So tell me, so prior to you, now that I know that this dish originated from the BMG deal, I definitely am going to have to go backwards.
Okay.
So tell me how you got your deal.
So I ended up signing with Billy Mann after somebody else originally from Rochester as well that knew me from the music scene up there passed the story and some demos along to him after I had written Lighters.
Hold on 1 second. We didn't explain this. This is your camera. That's mine. So still, you looking at me, but you kind of also.
Got you.
Okay. Go ahead. Start over. Sorry.
So I ended up at BMG after the story traveled through a friend of mine to Billy Mann. And then some demos went through for the Songwriters. Eminem, Bruno Mars, Royce the 5'9". So that was originally, the original version of that as a demo that I wrote with a producer in upstate New York. Was originally a record for myself. And then ended up making its way to their team and becoming a pretty big record.
Yeah.
Yeah, it became a pretty big record.
But they got a hold of you, you approved it, you cleared it.
Oh, man, I would love it if that's the way it went.
So tell us what happened.
So the producer, after we had an agreement in place, basically a couple days later was like, yo, I want 17 grand for this song. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Created it together type shit. And I'm like, well, that wasn't the agreement we had. And I'm in my head, I'm like, oh, he must have somebody interested in this thing. Sure enough, he did. At the time, I thought it was Drake by the way he was saying some certain things.
And what year is this?
2000.
I'm trying to think.
2010.
So Drake was out. Wait.
It was pretty new.
Yeah, Drake was very new.
Yeah, it was pretty new.
It was before his mixtape drop?
No.
It was after the
No,
mixtape.
yeah, Drake's got a run
But I'm
in the
saying,
game.
what? Didn't he drop in like 2008? With
This was
everybody in the
2010,
world?
but that's what I'm saying.
Okay,
this was
okay. No, that's what I'm trying to get the clarity. Okay,
yeah,
okay.
this was 2010.
So you thought it was gonna be Drake?
Well, yeah, it was like because he was alluding to something about Toronto, blah blah blah, whatever, whatnot. So, long and short, in that sense, I'm like, oh, dope. This is gonna be dope. Not really much to talk about. I'm pretty green in the sense of still learning a lot of the business. Like everything I've learned is from trial and error. Like
but he tries to sell you what, his half, or what was he trying to sell you?
No. He just wanted, because he had worked on. This comes up later. He had worked on making the band and all that sort of stuff. So what was the group, the boy band that Quanell was in? Because Quanell is also from Rochester. Q. But this producer worked on
making
that stuff, making the band and all that stuff, and that was kind of like the end of the conversation between he and I. Until
what?
Say 6 months later, I just found out about some new family recently around that time that was out in California, and I was out visiting.
Is that
Don't you worry about my
too
rice.
high? Okay,
Don't
I'll
you worry
stay
about
out
my
of it.
rice. You gotta let it, look, see, I'll just.
All right, go on.
So, I was out in LA visiting, planning a trip. Because I was looking into moving out here after meeting some newfound family. And I heard the song on the radio.
Your song?
Song I was a part of. I heard it on the radio. First time I ever heard it.
In LA or?
In Los Angeles.
Oh my gosh. And who was it? It was
Eminem, Bruno Mars, Royce the 5'9". And it was like right around the time Bruno Mars had airplanes and all that.
I definitely want to know what that feeling was like of joy /
I immediately texted the producer, was like, oh shit, congrats, we got one.
Oh.
Thanks, was the response. So in my head, I'm like, oh, like, we can get a check, that sort of thing. Never happened. Yeah, so basically discredited anything I had to do with the record, sold the record off. Everything was already done by the time I heard the record. So I had no parts in it. I didn't understand then, because like I said, I was still learning a lot of the business, I didn't realize then at the time I didn't have the song registered with a PRO, which is CSAC, BMI, or ASCAP. At that time, I didn't realize once something like that happens, you have 2 years somewhere in that span.
I was about to ask you, we can't go after him now?
Yeah. So, listen, there's been many of conversations, especially because it reappeared on his greatest hits. Like this song has been, like at this point in time, I'm probably owed like $1.3 million in royalties.
So
or I would be.
But so when you record the record, it's like two friends recording in a studio, right? Is that what is
friends is a loose term?
All right, but obviously not friends. But I'm just saying, like, what's the old saying?
And at the time, how old was I at the time? Like early 30s. I'm living in my brother's attic in Rochester. It's like rock bottom for me. My brother's married, got a kid. Attic ain't got no heat. I'm up there.
And you had this hit song on the radio.
Boom.
And and you find out about it while you're visiting in LA.
Yes.
And this sounds like a terrible nightmare / I definitely want to go through all these emotions that you're feeling.
Well, okay, yeah, let's do it. I mean, obviously there's some holy shit.
Yeah, like I'm a
some
badass.
vindication.
Yeah, or validation.
Validation, like all of the things. Because this isn't something that I hadn't been working towards. I started out as an artist myself. Started my first studio with some friends when I was 16, technically. So, in the midst of all that, it's like there's that, but then there's the part of me. Now, the producer was a Christian, super Christian, very godly, youth pastor.
That's really gonna hurt, because then you really have more faith that things are gonna go.
I didn't buy his bullshit from the beginning.
Oh, okay.
So
why do you mention it?
Because part of the struggle that I had then was being like, yo, this dude's not a good dude. And be like, yo, this would happen. And nobody was really believing me. Like I don't want a few of my peers that were like witnessed this stuff happen. But in a big scheme of things, nobody was like,
no one was biting.
No one was biting until years later he got arrested for some shit.
And genuinely curious, was the producer black, white, or
he was black?
He was black. So also you're this white boy.
Of course.
You gotta acknowledge the stereotype for white people, especially in hip hop.
Of course, 100%.
We have to. Okay,
100%.
There has to be a struggle there. But man, it must have felt kind of good that a white rapper picked it up.
Iconic
legend.
It's what's funny? The part about it that makes it really funny is I was a huge fan of Eminem. So obviously,
who wasn't a huge fan? Right.
Well, because I started rapping before everybody knew who Eminem was. So before I was like, oh, you vanilla ice ass motherfucker. Da da da. That was the clownage that I would get as a white kid rapping. And then it was like I was rapping before it was cool for white kids to rap.
Yeah.
And then he came along and I'm like, this dude's dope. Like, and hearing him, and he's dope. And his album dropped, and I was showing people his stuff prior to his album coming out. And his album dropped at a time in my life where I was sent away. I got caught with coke and crack. And I got copped out like I was using it, blah, blah, blah. First offense, facing 1 1/3 to 3 years. They was making an example out of me. And I copped out, ended up in drug court, long-term rehab bullshit. Because I'm like, I got a drug problem. I sell drugs to buy weed.
And like, just to clarify though, you never touched the stuff, right?
No, I never smoked crack. Never
That's
sniffed
hilarious.
coke.
So you're in rehab.
Sold mad coke.
You're hilarious because now, could you imagine a non-drug person in rehab?
And the worst part is like, so I'm in an outpatient, and this is terrible. The outpatient counselor's like, 23, hot. I'm like 16 years old. Like I'm fucking top of the world, asshole attitude, and this is all before this part, but at this time, I'm just talking about it because, so I think she's hitting on me, so I ask her out to dinner. Next time I go to court, clink, clink, don't, hey, arrest my ass. Kick me out of there, send me to long-term inpatient.
Wow. So
then I get sent away for a year to a long-term inpatient, basically with people, it's like their last stop before going to prison. So I was in there with like heroin addicts and all sorts of stuff, and I'm trying to play along.
Like you are.
Like I belong, like I have this drug problem. I had a problem selling drugs at the time. And so I'm trying to play that along. And
so you passed the acting test of being a reformed drug addict.
I was there 11 and a half months, and then I got kicked out. They said I went as far as I could in the program, so I thought I was about to go to jail anyways.
Oh, but really they were just releasing you because you were no longer a fake drug addict, right? Is that what this?
Theoretically, sure. Yeah, I don't know. I know they fucked up some paperwork. I was supposed to get sent to a halfway house. That didn't happen. I got outpatient again. This time it was an old lady, so I wasn't trying to hit on her. We was good.
Okay. Got it. So the record comes out on the radio. This man sold it, and his response is like, thanks.
What do you want? What did you do on the record? And I'm just like, really? And this is prior to me being signed to BMG. So I hadn't been, everything I knew about how song splits and things of that nature worked up to that point was just of what I learned around people that I was working with. And we were all figuring it out. There wasn't nobody there really teaching us how to do this shit. We were kids, So I didn't know, like I said, I didn't know how to protect myself. I didn't know any of these things. And that was pretty much it. I had no money to get a lawyer, and going after something of that size. But why did he even think
that to even ask you to pay for a $17,000 record when he knew you didn't even have that money?
Because it was his way of sweeping it over, and doing what he wanted with it, and trying to find a way to not entitle me to anything. Yeah. But later, like I said, and getting into songwriting sessions, like with bigger artists and things of that nature after I signed, I learned rather quickly what it's like, oh, this is what you're entitled to when you're a part of a record like this. Like somebody can almost be in a room half the time, not do anything, and get a piece of a song almost. Say one word can kind of entitle you to some stuff, because you could say one word that changes the direction of the entire record.
So like if you're doing a studio session and I sit in on your studio session and I say, fa la la la, and you go,
and that becomes part of the hook.
Yeah. And
you change the direction of the record. The right thing to do is to give you a piece of that.
Really? Even off that? Even
Does
if
it happen? Not really.
But I'm just saying,
and this
like,
is why I don't like people in my sessions. I don't
Yeah.
like managers. Like, if you're
Okay.
not a part of this creative process, fuck up out of here. You're a distraction. And I don't want
Okay.
any of your ideas.
Okay, but just so for educational points, because this just got real interesting. So if a girl, or you know how guys like to invite a bunch of chicks to a studio session, right? Theoretically, girl comes in, because this does happen. I've been in the studio. Everybody know what go down in studios. Well, hopefully people know. But okay, say some girl's in there and they're working on a record, and she goes fa la 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 la, or she goes, oh, I like that part, but maybe I'd say it like this. If they don't take that advice, does she still option? Okay.
No.
But then how can you even prove if it did make?
See, and that's where the gray area of creating something out of thin air and making it a tangible product gets
Okay.
interesting.
But then it becomes a he said, she said too, right?
Yeah, of
But
course.
so your best piece of advice is nobody outside of artists and production are in the room first.
I mean, and again, it's like, it varies. Everybody has their process. So
Okay.
is there an end all be all to that? It's like,
So to clarify though, for lighters, what role did you play on that actual co-writing?
the
Or the
entire
whole-
concept of the record
Mhm.
was mine. There was, as we were going back and forth on production, he's playing keys. I was guiding the direction
Mm-hmm.
of the keys and what we were doing. And then writing the hook, he had the idea of it. And then together we formulated it into this lighters thing.
Mm-hmm.
And mind you, the original demo, when Bruno and the Smeezingtons and everybody got it, they wrote it out even further.
Mm-hmm.
So it was even better when they were done with it.
Yeah.
But the so I was a part of the writing, the melody.
So Eminem did rewrite he wrote his own. Everybody wrote their own.
Yes, except for the chorus. The chorus is the one thing that stayed.
Oh, which
and that was the one thing. It's funny because the entire concept of the record, even some things that were said in it, I to this day don't know whether they heard the demo with just the hook or my verses, because there's even some similarities there. But a hook will guide you conceptually on a record. So
Okay.
I wouldn't say that. And I know some of that story's gotten back to some of the folks in that camp, but at the time, I know none of them had any clue.
Okay.
Yeah. So it wasn't like, oh, I know.
Mm-hmm.
But in talking about prior, like when I was sent away, like I got a home visit and Eminem's record came out, and like his first album, the Slim Shady. And so it's like Rock Bottom and things of that nature are on it. And so that was like, at that time, I got this home visit, which fucked me up because they send you home to fuck you up on purpose to see if you're going to do drugs.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a big, it was like I was 16, 17, torn away from everything I've known, thrown out on a farm in the middle of a country, grew up in the fucking city, shoveling pig shit for a year and a half, for a year. It was basically a boot camp. Nice name for a boot camp, shop camp type shit. And so when this happened later on, and then I didn't get anything for it, it was almost like one of my, I don't want to say, like one of my superheroes, especially for hip hop.
Mm-hmm.
And knowing his story from what I had known up to that point, it was like it was like a kick in the dick. Because now there's this record that it was like, yo, this would be a record that would have not only changed my life, but everybody I had been working with could have helped me put my sister's kids into a better school, paid off my mom's house, which still ain't paid off, but like things of that nature. So it was like, it was interesting the effect that it had on me in that sense as well.
But in this case, though, it wasn't an Eminem situation.
Correct.
This is a
The
camp
producer.
that Eminem has no
No clue.
idea.
Right,
Yeah, not
right.
even in proximity on
Correct.
any level.
Not even close. Right.
So why did you feel that way?
Like shit, you feel how you feel. You know, it wasn't. It's
I
like,
don't know if I'm ever gonna be affected by if my anything has to any peripherals of Jay-Z. Just know I'm gonna be mad at whoever played me, but Jay-Z, I'll be like, yo, it must have been anointed that our stars would be aligned, and it's just gonna, you know.
It sound good, like, and but when you've been fighting your whole life to have this validation, have this point, you're broke, you're 30 years old, living in an attic, can't figure out, ain't got a pot to piss in. Selling drugs ain't the way because you keep doing that and get in trouble. So it's like there's a bitterness because then I start counting what I'm not getting. It's like, yeah, there's this vindication. This is great.
Oh.
Now it's like, but now I'm not like, now the opportunity, it wasn't even always about the money. It was like that alone, that credit could have opened the door for me to go in with somebody else.
Damn.
To go in with this person.
And
that's the moment everybody works for.
Yeah, and that's a natural reaction. That would be a total logical natural reaction. Everybody would feel that way.
Right.
Yeah.
And you know, and it's like, and then there's the part of like, don't go after it. You're like, don't try to fight for it or chase down the labels and this, that, because then you're going to get blackballed. And it's kind of like, and I fought with that for a long time. And it was like, blackballed from what?
So then how does BMG pick you up from a non-credit?
So the story traveled, and it ends up, it's funny. I was so broke, I had an MPC 2000 or 2500 at the time, which is a piece of studio equipment a lot of producers know. And I had to sell it so I could get the money to afford the bus ticket to take the bus down to New York City to have the meeting for BMG. So I sold a piece of my studio equipment.
Damn.
So I could go
and
be able to, so I could afford. Actually, it's funny. I think about it, I sold that I sold that MPC to 38 Special.
Who's that?
Another artist out of Rochester that he's done a lot of stuff with Benny Griselda and them guys.
Okay.
So this is all the kind of the folks I like grew up around, DJ Green Lantern and all those folks.
You go to the meeting, and how does that meeting go?
Meeting's great. Like, so I sent over some demos, and they liked what they heard. They saw potential, whatever the case. He had heard the story about this Lighters record. So we talked, and it was a writing camp that weekend. So it was kind of like, we want to sign you to this co-pub deal. I'm at this. The first session I have is at Michael Bolton's house.
Oh, wow.
Was a friend of Billy's.
Yeah.
So, and it wasn't with Michael, but it's at his house because that's where they were holding the camp, and they were like next to each other in different studios. But the story, like, Billy was an advocate of the underdog. And part of it was like, yo, we can look into this and go after it, litigation, yada, 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 yada. So part of that was, oh shit, I might actually get what's due to me. So I signed because, first of all, I didn't have many other options. Yeah. Wasn't really.
Well, you're selling your producer equipment, so it's like the option that's on the table.
Living in an attic. It's like, where does it go from here? And meanwhile, I have a radio show in Rochester as well. I have a radio show 7 on Saturday nights at the time that became one of the highest rated radio shows in the station's history at one point. So, it's like, here I am in this public perception of like, oh, he's on radio, have a studio, working on stuff like this, but I'm living in an attic, selling a piece of equipment to be able to go take a meeting to possibly get a deal, to possibly get me where I think I want to be. Yeah.
So you get this deal. Do you go home like feeling a little bit more vindicated?
Yeah, of course. Like, I was on top of the world. I like in some, because there was the vindication. It was like, from this bad, this came, and it was like, all right, I'm gonna turn this into something. But I came from the hip hop side of things, and mainly everybody that was a part of this team at the time, it was more pop, alt rock type stuff, some dance stuff. So it was a lot of me trying to figure out where I fit in there. And because I couldn't really sing, I wasn't the greatest producer either. It was like, my main skill was like, I could come up with some melody, but they're simple, which are what most hits tend to be. Yeah. It's like, most hits tend to be simple melodies. So, and I'm a really good writer and putting words together in storylines, but I didn't feel like I had a lot of respect amongst the people that I was working with or signed to around with, because, oh, here's this guy, here's this story, here's this record. He can't really sing his record. So now I'm trying to get people to demo the records, because people don't hear what you want them to hear. They only hear what they hear. Yeah. So, there was a lot of struggles in that. So I felt vindicated, but at the same time, it was like another layer of, I got to prove myself even more. Yeah. Like.
But you get the deal and it comes with a check.
Yeah.
So what's the first thing you do with your check?
First thing I did was put a little down payment on a car.
Okay. You didn't replace the equipment?
No, not at that time.
Okay. So you get a car.
Yep. I put a down payment on a '07 used Ford Escape.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so that's not even, yeah.
No, yeah, it's nothing crazy. Used, yeah, it had 100,000 miles on it when I bought it. But
Okay.
I needed something because I knew I was going to have to be driving back and forth between Rochester and New York. So, and I was looking in New York. I'm like, oh, look at all the taxi cabs. The trucks, they're all Ford Escapes. These things got to last long. Probably should buy one of them. And that's literally how I decided to buy that vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so that was the first thing. And then I got an apartment down in New York City with another buddy from Rochester, Emilio Rojas.
Mm-hmm.
So he and I were living together in Washington Heights.
Mm-hmm.
So I was there as well as back, and I was driving back and forth every weekend to come do my radio show in Rochester,
Mm-hmm.
because that opened a lot of doors music industry wise for me, as well as being on the radio, you know, a little ego fulfillment. And I was fairly decent. I was pretty good at it. And then living down in New York City and spending as much time as I could trying to get into studios and things of that nature with artists. But getting into, it doesn't matter how good you are, getting into the rooms with people is all relationship based.
Yeah, of course.
I keep hitting my elbow on this shit.
Sorry about that.
It's all right. It's because I'm short.
Yeah. Are you done cooking?
I'm just ready to go.
All right, then feed us.
All right.
Feed us. Feed us. So, at what point do you decide to hop on a plane and after that? Well, no. Tell me how you end up at the BMG buildings. Clearly, it's not a hard situation to end up in. But go ahead.
What do you mean? Like, what do you mean? How'd I end up in the BMG building?
Because you were squatting there, you said.
Oh, that part. So BMG was moving offices, and at the time, my money started drying up. The advance money, you know, it wasn't a big check.
Yeah.
And back and forth, whatnot. So that started drying up. So I literally moved, instead of bringing all my studio equipment back to Rochester. I put it all in the BMG building, and I bought an air mattress. And I would drive down. I would be in Rochester, because now at this time, I started selling dope again, quietly.
Oh, my gosh.
So, gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah.
You gotta do what you gotta do. And...
No hot sauce for me.
What?
No hot sauce for me. What?
One?
No hot sauce for me. If I do it, I'm going to have to control it.
This red hot ain't even that hot.
Yeah, I'm gonna
You
control.
gonna let the white boy out hot sauce you on your own show?
It's okay. I'm half white. Remember.
Oh.
You saying that?
Your spice level is.
Come on. Man.
Is the white, huh? You got the white side?
I
love hot sauce. My best friend's West Indian, so I grew up eating all sorts of spicy shit.
Oh. All right, you ready to try this?
Did you put hot sauce on it?
I put a little drop of hot sauce. I'm ready.
All right. I mean, I know what it tastes like.
You better after 2 months straight of.
Tastes like tears and heartache.
You're hilarious.
Air mattresses and heartaches.
Yes, when you start applying air mattresses, you know, like you're on survival mode, and at no point are you thinking to. I mean, why aren't you thinking to get like a regular day job? I know you have the radio show, and I know you have the BMG deal, but why pick up drugs?
Well, I mean, in some cases I did. You know, I've worked my whole life, but nothing's ever enough. Not a little 9 to 5 ain't shit. Like, you know, there was a point in time I was a catering manager in Manhattan, so now I'm delivering, and this is prior to this, I'm delivering shit to photo shoots, meeting Ghostface, Killer, and shit like that, and it's like. You know, first week on the job, I met Russell Simmons at a car wash. Fuck, I'm gonna say to him, "Hey, man, listen to my demo."
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, and that was one thing it took me, that I and maybe some of that was my own pride.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because if anybody would understand, it's these dudes. Because
you would think so, but that's also the other thing that it took me a very long time, because I was really bitter when I was younger. I was bitter. I was angry. I still am a little angry. Still a little bitter too, but with a different understanding, because the people that make it, the people that break through, they fought for it. Like, and when you haven't had to fight for it or go through the things to get certain places, you have no appreciation for what it takes to get there. You have no respect for the relationships that you may introduce. It's like, you and I know each other a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, you'll introduce me to somebody knowing my character, knowing where I come from,
mm-hmm.
knowing I'm not going to put you in a fucked up position with that person.
Yep.
To where somebody that hasn't earned that or learned that along the way on their own can fuck everything up for somebody. Just off an introduction.
By the way, I just experienced that in the entertainment business.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you who it is off camera. And my first time ever. And I was like, what the fuck? No. But,
And it's like, and relationships are more valuable than money.
Yeah.
Because the relationships can bring you all the money in the world. You know?
Yep.
And I have a lot of long-standing relationships. Like, there's people at labels now that I'm friends with, that I've been friends with for 20 years, that I met when they were sitting on the stoop as a street team. They were on the street team.
It's so funny you say that because when I had Celebrity High Magazine, a lot of the people that were, when I was working with all the labels having that magazine, they were like kind of more at the bottom level.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're running shit.
Yeah.
Like 20 years later,
yeah.
like literally like vice presidents, presidents,
and these
and
100%, and that's where a lot of my friends are. Like, you know, it's like, because everybody's worked to get there. So to get back to that part of like where the bitterness and stuff is, like, it took me a long time. I used to be mad at some I don't want to say mad, but I used to talk shit because like, yo, motherfucker, how you can't open the door for somebody from the same place you're from and things of that nature, when you have the opportunity to do so. And it wasn't until I started making my way through some of them doors myself and people started coming to me thinking I could open doors to where I learned and realized what it's like on other sides of it. And I started learning that with the radio station. When I got there and I was an advocate for independent artists and getting independent artist songs played on this radio station. So I'll be playing for a week. They'd be back next week like, yo, I got a new single I want you to play. It's like, nah, that's not how this works, man. Yeah. Like, you need to work this thing. Take it from Rochester, go to Buffalo, show them you're getting it played here, get them to play it, and then do it in Syracuse and make it regional. Like, with this one record, work that nah, man, this new record's the shit. I'm like, yo, I can't, it doesn't work that way. I can't play that record for you. Well, fuck you then. I'm like, oh, fuck me. Damn, I just fought for 2 months to get this record on for you. Now I'm telling you I can't play your next record, and it's fuck me. Okay, I see. And I learned that along the way. That is a very common thing. Like, people don't like to be told no.
Yeah.
And I'm like the type, and I'm pretty straightforward. So it's like, that's why it's been interesting, my transition into LA. Because a lot of people, it's like, what's the saying? People in New York are nice or kind, but they're not nice. A lot of people in LA are nice, but they're not kind.
No, I never heard that, but that makes sense.
You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, you know, you fall down, like, get up, you fuck, you know, New York, help you up, get up, you fucking idiot. Like, let me help you, get the fuck up, dum-dum.
Yeah.
To where, you know, and then they say a lot of people out here, it's like, and I want to be careful because I don't want to create that separation, but they say, like, I'll just, you okay? And keep walking. You know what I'm saying? Like that fake shit, like, oh my God, girl, you so pretty, turn around. I can't stand that bitch.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I think that comes in every city. So I want to be very careful with that. I think it's just more prevalent out here because so many people come out here to be this thing. So there's this, it's the girl from Milwaukee or Wichita that gives off that, I gotta be this sort of way to where it's like the natives are fucking dope out here. Yeah. Same thing, like, you know, it's like, you know, so.
I don't know. It's very rarely you in LA and you stumble upon an actual
See,
person.
I've come across a bunch, like, some of my closest friends here are native.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Let me think about that. I have like maybe one or two close friends from LA. I don't know. All my diehard friends
are from the East Coast.
It's always gonna be New York all day. Like, literally, I had maybe one or two solids here in LA, but I love my girls in LA, but don't nobody compare to my girls in New York. Girls in New York.
It's just different.
Yeah, because
it's just different.
They ride or die differently.
But, man, listen, I'm telling you, the friends I've made here have become family. And it's a lot of it is, it's like people from here because they've grown up around the bullshit. They're not, I don't give a fuck who you know. I don't give a shit. Yeah. I don't get, like, you know, and of course there's exceptions to all that, but that's in every major city. That doesn't matter. So it's just a matter of finding your circle.
So take me to your next big milestone after the BMG deal.
Man, I wish I could. That's, you know, like, because the BMG deal carried on for 6 years. And I signed the deal right at the time when the industry was changing. Publishing deals were changing. So then you had to have, my deal basically, I had to have 3 records. Mm-hmm. Each record is 100%. If I co-write the record with 4 people, I only get 25%. So I had to have 300% worth of records that placed on major labels in order to get out of my contract.
Oh, wow.
At a time when now Spotify and things of these nature are taking over, and these are physical. Some of the deal is physical albums, CDs.
Yeah.
They stopped making them.
Yeah.
So I would have been in the deal forever.
It's crazy if you think about it. I ain't seen a CD in a long ass time.
And
there was a point where you'd go to Walmart or wherever you bought your CDs.
Yeah.
And you went in there just for a CD.
Yeah.
Now, when was the last time we did that? That's
go out
crazy.
every Tuesday. It used to be every Tuesday. For Tuesday at midnight, hit the record store, get the new Big Punisher album, get the new,
Okay. Damn, the good old days. All right.
Shit, we showing our age now. That's all right. I'm happy to be here. A lot of my friends ain't make it this far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I'm actually hungry.
For 6 years, you're with BMG, and are you're saying basically you got stuck in the deal?
Nothing ever really landed. You know, there was a few things that landed. We did a little NFL Network song. There was a bunch of almost. I had a lot of one night stands with success throughout my career. A lot of them. To where it was like, this is the moment. This is it. A lot of the Eminem story things. Difference. I don't mean to say the Eminem story things, but you know, a lot of like that record situations to where it was like I almost had end song in one of the Fast and Furious movies. And then the end switched because Paul Walker passed. Same thing with, I had a record that was in the running for the trailer for the first 50 Shades of Grey. They ended up flipping a record and it became Beyonce. So I've had a lot of moments like that to where, almost. And now I'm on the cusp of another one. But
Jesus.
Yeah, I'm on the cusp of another one that I
can't. How do you stay not in a quitting place and a non-validation place? If that's a such word, you know what I'm saying? Like where you kind of like, am I supposed to do this?
Man, I don't know, because it's heartbreaking. And that's the part. It's like either you get it, and again, like I said, it's a feast or famine thing. But there's nothing like, I never started making music for the money. And that's the thing. So it's like, whether I'm making money or not off of music or whatever the case may be, or whatever things I'm working on, it's therapy for me. So I have no choice but to create.
It's therapy. I can understand that. But as an adult in a major city, these aren't little cities we're living in. We're not talking about Ohio. No disrespect to Ohio. I can't imagine what
shit's expensive in LA. Yeah.
It's so funny because like I look at the other side and I'm like, wow, that's crazy how much things are. But at the same time, I could never fathom living in a city like that. Like when people are like, you gonna live in Ohio and life just is a lot cheaper. I'm like,
but the opportunity, you pay for the opportunity.
Yeah.
And the relationships and the network. And that's one of the things I always tell people, because I have a lot of friends that are talented as fuck that haven't left home, have tried a little bit here and there, but haven't stuck to it because they wouldn't go through the 2 months of eating rice and beans. They wouldn't push through that extra part.
So you're saying that that you don't mind the rice and beans as long as you have your therapy.
Well, I'm also a hustler, so I'm gonna figure some shit out. I've also always worked. I have a crazy work ethic. Like that's one thing anybody will tell you. But I got a big heart and a crazy work ethic. So it's like, if I didn't have a big heart, I'd be a multimillionaire already. But I make sure the people around me that I work with are taken care of before myself. And I think that's why a lot of opportunities do present themselves to me.
When you say taking care of before yourself, what does that look like?
Say we got somebody that comes in and wants a record and there's a little budget for it. I make sure a lot of people, you know, it's like, for instance, I can tell you, I have records at place that I know paid 10, 20 grand and I got $500 for it. But I know the person in charge of placing the record the budget was $20,000 for that record. So, but it was either take this little $1,500 or don't get the record at all placed in whatever this film or TV show is. And those are the things that make it hard too.
Because, but I'm saying when you say like take care of everyone before you, what does that look like?
because I will work, I'll work a 9 to 5.
Mhm.
I'll do all that other shit to where some people aren't, some of the creatives I work with don't.
Mhm.
So it's like when a budget does come, like I'll make sure that they're taken care of, to where a lot of people say, take care of yourself first.
Mhm.
I need to, because
Mhm.
that's, you really need to, because you can't help anybody if you can't help yourself.
Mhm.
Something that took me a long time to really accept and learn. But making sure that they're getting taken care of, maybe advancing money out of my personal account before the money comes for some shit,
Okay.
so that they're able to survive another week. Because I know I'm going to figure it out.
Yeah.
Everybody don't got I'm going to figure this shit out.
How do you deal with that? How do you not get to the point of like, I'm enabling?
It's family. Like, these are good people. I don't really work with a lot of people I won't sit at a dinner table with.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I give tough love. It's not like it's like I said, that nice and kind shit. I'm like, yo, here, motherfucker, you need to get your shit together. Like, figure this shit the fuck out, bro. I can't do this no more. Like, what the fuck about? Go get me a check.
Yeah.
Like, there's that sort of shit. But it all always comes from an honest place. Because I want. It ain't no fun to win alone. That's the one thing. Because that dude that sold that record off, ended up getting himself in some trouble later on.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, whatever money he did make from it's gone.
Wow.
Had to change his name because it was like,
yeah.
It actually made me glad not to be a part of it, because it was like some underage boy charge shit.
Okay.
Damn. And it was crazy because the karma, I'm like, now I'm vindicated. I was like, but I didn't want that way.
Yeah.
That's not the vindication I want.
I feel bad for it's funny because now I have a daughter now, and people will come up to me all the time and they're like, hey, put her in the industry, and I'm like,
yeah.
And you would think that little girls aren't safe, but in that industry,
ain't nobody safe.
Boy, ain't no kids.
Ain't nobody.
Safe.
Nobody.
It's
It's
safe,
not.
yeah.
Ain't nobody safe. I mean, like, we're seeing a lot of that shit come to the forefront, and it's crazy because I heard you talking a little bit about it when I first got in, and it's just like times have changed so much. Certain shit that maybe wasn't accepted or was accepted at a time that's just not tolerated at all anymore. It's good to see that growth, but it's also crazy to see worlds get flipped upside down in various ways. It's like, we don't even need to go into that. Let's stay away from that. Because that's a rabbit hole of a conversation.
Damn,
I already know.
Did you see my
Got
eyes?
deep.
Like,
I know, I saw.
wait, what?
But it's like, it's just like, because there's like, it's just crazy to see. It's like icons and shit that people looked up to, and then to start, it's like the opposite side of the facade of, I'm out here looking like I'm doing good, but I'm living in a fucking attic selling dope.
Yeah.
Trying not to get caught because everybody thinks I got it. To fake it till you make it shit. That's the other side. Like, I made it. I'm a great guy. I'm helping everyone. No, you took all their publishing. You're doing this crazy shit.
Yeah.
It's the complete opposite extreme.
Yeah. Oh, I see what
you
you're
see
saying.
what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, it's
there.
like.
Yeah, it's if you had to do it all over again, and like you had to write a letter to your younger self, knowing everything that you know now.
Stay in school, motherfucker. Stay in school. It's a tough question, because the problem with that, and people have asked, people always ask questions like that. Like, I love who I am as a person. And it's the combination of everything that I've been through that have led me to, I'm not unhappy. I've made some money. I've lost some money. Made some money back, lost it again. For me, it's like, I'm at the point now to where I'm really just trying to figure out connecting the dots so I can actually be able to help other people the way I've always wanted to. Because I'm a giver at the end of my core. You know me off a little bit. So like,
I hang out with you a couple of times, and I would definitely say there's a couple of things I will say about you.
Oh,
but
shit. Come on, let's go. Yeah, let's go. Come on, let's go. I want to hear it. Let's go. Come on, give it to him.
There's a couple of things I'd say about you, but I would say that the top tier would be you seem very genuine. You're very hospitable, which goes hand in hand with genuineness, right? You're definitely, I would say, giver. Yeah.
What else? Nah, there's some more shit. You got give them the bad shit too. Come on, say some
bad
slick
shit.
Yeah.
No, I'm not doing that while we're recording.
Why? Isn't that what this is about?
The bad shit. I think
I'm
you
nervous
are.
now. I'm not gonna lie, a little nervous.
Okay, from the day I've met you, I think you are 100% dope.
Thanks.
100% dope.
Oh,
I do think though, if you get to know Nick and you are a female,
100% dope.
Okay, dope by
Now you got it too. Look, I got a little plug for myself. There you go.
do I get to keep this?
Yeah, that's for you.
Oh, okay.
I just needed you to say something nice about me. Tell her what she's won.
Okay, well, it sucks because you just gave me a present. I don't know if I can say
Nah,
this
talk it.
anymore.
Nah, because now you're gonna go into the women part. Let's go. This ought to be.
Okay.
You gonna call me a misogynist?
No, if I had to be brutally honest, and and I said this behind your back before. You obviously never heard this.
Oh, this is about to pull.
But I genuinely think when you get around, you're wholesome, like you're a whole person, you're a giver and all that. But I definitely think as a female that there may be a possible nervous tick with you because your mouth can
go crazy.
It's almost like the guy that can talk himself out of pussy.
Yeah.
Like you got.
I mean, I talk myself into some too.
You all right? But I'm just saying, like, from my takeaway, it's like you could have that 3-point shot, but your mouth can actually undo it. That's the only. That's not a bad side. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
But the part about that.
Crazy that I just said that out loud.
Nah. Because the part about it is I'm willing to unpack that. That's why I'm like, yo,
talk your shit. That's why I said it's got to be a nervous tick. And I never say, and I say that with respect to you. Like I've said this like behind your back, like 100% dope person, but there must be some kind of.
Some shit I need some more therapy for.
Like, there's got to be some kind of nervous tick that causes you to be super dope. And then, like, or I would say, just knowing you personally, like, when you get around a female, you say some stuff that's like, what? And so you would have to assume it's got to be like a and this sounds terrible. Because
no, it's funny. No, like,
it's
from
interesting. From a woman's perspective, if I had to be brutally honest, to me, it comes off like a nervous tick. Because if you know the person, you're like, this person's a solid person.
Right.
So why the heck would they be like Tourette syndrome of the polar opposite?
Because
it's got to be a nervous tick.
A lot of it. So it's funny because one, you've known me long enough to know I don't bite my tongue. I just say what the fuck I think.
You do, but it's like,
and a lot of times I be poking.
Oh, is that a poke?
I be poking because so I guess you have to get into some of my therapy shit. So I grew up watching my mother cheat on my father, then finding out later my father wasn't actually my father. And so growing up my entire life, it made sense a week before I turned 29 when I found out my father wasn't my father and my older brother, younger sister were my half-brother, half-sister, and my entire family was lying to me my whole life. So a lot of me, especially when I have the love-hate relationship with women, because I give my all, but then there's this, I don't trust you. What can I get away with? How much respect you got for yourself? Can I say this and get away with this? How far are you going to let me go? Is that the right thing to be doing? No, but that's some of the unpacking on a surface level for that.
Damn, I'm kind of glad I addressed it because I called it I didn't know what that was.
Of course.
And so I did hang out with you during COVID.
I remember, yeah.
You cooked me a nice dinner. I thought you were super dope. Low-key, guys, off the record, I low-key wanted to date you. But then we hung out, and you were very respectful of me. Mm-hmm. I think I even spent the night at his house, and
we didn't smash.
We didn't smash, and I thought that was awesome. I was like, he's really respectful. I don't even know why I stayed, but I mean, not saying it like that, but I don't know how I ended up sleeping there. But It wasn't. The intention obviously wasn't that. But I'm just saying, very hospitable. But then you would say things around me, and I'm like,
fuck you just say?
Like, is this dude a nutbag? Like, respect hospitable. So that's why I would say he must have a nervous tick.
Right.
But that nervous tick was like, as a person, I was like
for you, it's like get the fuck away from me.
Yeah.
So you actually wanted to bring this up because this was something you was trying to understand what happened back when we hung out. This really wasn't just trying to. I see what it's
because I genuinely think you're a dope person.
Right.
And it can be, and I'm glad you explained that for even just all women to know this because, and I get the poking because I tell girls, guys have disclaimers. You'll be at a party and a guy will be like, would you have sex with a dog or something crazy? And you'd be like, as a woman, you got to just be able to walk away from, would you?
I mean, that's crazy.
Well,
that's crazy.
I'm just trying to, but you know how guys, they'll test you, be like,
bullshit.
Would you have a threesome? Like they
100%.
just say something within 10 seconds of meeting
and there's two sides of that.
Yeah.
There's we have a threesome, like, maybe I can fuck her and her friend.
Yeah.
And then there's a threesome, like, don't really want to have a kid with her.
Yeah, or like when I always feel like when a guy does that, it's such a disrespectful thing that I'm like, oh, you're trying to test me? Well, here's the test.
Bye.
Deuces.
Right.
So if I get any sense of a disclaimer, I'm out because I'm not with.
But we're grown now.
We're
That's
grown
also
now.
too.
Yeah, but I say that to say that it didn't, for me, it didn't align with the person I knew, and then those random, whatever the heck you call them, pokes.
But also too, like with me, there's a lot of personality stuff. It's like a lot of women, and I'm attracted to strong women. Mm-hmm. So there's that. I can't say weak women don't do it for me. I walk all over you. Mm-hmm. I get bored because I'm strong. I've been fighting my whole life. Mm-hmm. I need somebody that can help lift me when I'm down, which I don't want to say isn't often, but you know, everybody
has problems.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like, you know, let's stop the tough talk shit. You know, everybody has their things. So there's that, but I'm also I'm attracted to strong women. I like slick mouth. I like my women a little stank.
What?
Slick mouth. I like my women a little stank.
Like a little,
like
my
little
little brother's like that.
Yeah, like I don't want every dude that says hi to you for you to be fucking friendly with. You don't need to be friendly to everybody. Like be a little stank. Because I know men. How you doing? And you're attractive. Instantly, I could fuck. Now I got to and I've been the short white kid my whole life that's predominantly dated Latin women and things like that shit. So I've been tested my whole life in that area. So, but dating strong women, y'all talk shit. Got some slick mouth. And I got a lot of slick mouth too. So you're going to get that slick talk right back.
Yeah. But I'm glad that we did identify your one little minor, not even a flaw. I just want to say the one thing that was a little offsetting.
Right.
We identified.
Because I do say some crazy shit.
Identified the root. It's funny because for me, I always feel like it's going to sound so ignorant. I always feel like women don't cheat.
Ha!
After hearing this shit though, I'm like, oh well, I guess
and the part is then it carries on further, you know, because sure, that's the idea of what I based what a woman's supposed to be about, right? So then get into the relationships and things that I dealt with personally growing up. So then it's like, you know, it's all these things. And now granted, this is all stuff that as you grow older, you become self-aware. You start realizing, like you said, tick. Why do I do this? And a lot of it's defense mechanisms, things that, and whatnot. So it's like me. You can always tell. There's always some truth in my jokes. Always.
Yeah.
Always. Doesn't matter how much of a joke it is. There's something hidden in that motherfucker that's like, I'm actually not joking. And then being self-aware enough to know that I'm always like trying to create laughing when things become uncomfortable. Creating jokes.
Yeah. Well, all right. Now that we suppose, I hope my whole group pulls half. But anyways,
I need some more rice and beans.
Let's catch up to where you're at now.
All right. So right now, doing multiple things actually. So I actually run a club in Hollywood, West Hollywood, Apartment 200, which I'm one of the GMs over there, which I ended up doing on accident. Same way I ended up in radio on accident. And I've been doing that for a few months, which has been great because it's introduced me to, I mean, a week ago, SZA was there. So it's like, it's opened up the door for some relationships that I haven't been able to foster just by being out and about. Especially because I'm not a big club guy. Like I'm over that shit. I'm grown. I'd rather sit home, say some offensive shit, and take a nap. You know what I'm saying? But and then a lot of sync film stuff. Like there's one of this kid Bear Bailey that we just did a couple records for that 4Bats manager is getting behind. I have a placement with. I can't get into specifics per se right now, but there's a movie coming out in the next few months
but let's backtrack. Let's go back to House Party.
Okay.
Well, you got a placement in House Party, right? How did you acquire that?
So that's funny. That record is actually me, my guy Reezy Tunes, and Good June. Good June is a part of the group Overdose. That's from out here. Calmatic used to be Overdose's manager. So they're all friends, grew up in LA together. And we had done that record like 2 years prior. So this record was sitting as a demo on my studio computer at my house. And June hit me and was like, yo, I'm doing this thing. And it was during the pandemic. He's like, yo, I'm doing this thing. I want to perform this live. Can you send me? I'm like, cool. Send it to him. He does this live performance of this and then hits me the next day. It was like, yo, I'm about to put you in touch with this music supervisor. They want this for this movie. So that was just sheer
God
working with relationships, a dope record, right timing, right person
place,
saw it. Yeah. And none of us have publishing deals. We're all out of our shit. Nobody was tied to anything. So we brokered that whole thing independently.
Wow.
So, and then that was even crazy because originally it was supposed to go direct to, I think, HBO, Max or whatever it was at the time. And because of the pandemic, things kept getting punted. They were pushing things back. Then there was a merger. So it was one point where we're like, oh, we're not even getting it. Like, yeah, it's not like they're not even going to put the movie out anymore. And then, now mind you, we did all the deal for a direct to streaming was the whole deal. So it wasn't a bunch. It wasn't a ton of money. But great look. Then we get word that they're actually going to do a theatrical release. So we're like, oh, shit. So now we think we're about to cash out. Yeah. No, because we had already done the deal for this other situation. So it was like, what we got was what we got. There'll be some royalties, but the film royalties are completely different. Fortunately, we still own the master, but the record didn't take off on the film.
Oh, wow.
So, but it was fucking dope. Got to go to the premiere here. Yeah. Great experience, but it's like, and there's a bunch of things like that. I've had a couple things in Power, a couple of the Power shows, and Mike Tyson.
But how do those, when you get those placements, like, do the checks be? Can you give us a ballpark of how decent they are?
They all vary. That's the thing. What the check is that you get and what the actual budget for the song is, depending on who the person is connecting the dots, can be two different worlds.
Okay.
And that's what I was saying before. Like,
so it seems like you're always, I used to call it like, I used to always tell my dad, it's like I'm really hungry and there's this like thin glass between me and a steak. And for whatever reason, I can't break through this dumbass glass. But I can see it. I can even smell it. And I always used to be like, man, it's like so close, but also impossible to break this damn glass.
But
that's how
you gonna get it.
Yeah.
You ain't stopping. And that's how, and it's funny because people like, it's because it correlates back to what you asked me earlier about like the music. What's it like? How do you keep going? And it was like, I've been asked that sort of thing because I've had so many almost moments. And I've had some small ones, I've had some bigger ones, and it's like, they're like, what's it? I've been asked, what's it like? I'm like, well, imagine waking up, confessing. I woke up, came to you, confessed to you. I fucking love you. You are everything I need. You look at me and say, you're not good enough. Get up and do it again tomorrow. And get up and do it again. And get up and keep doing it. Until finally, you know what? You are good enough. And that's what a lot of it's like. Because you're always chasing the acceptance and the approval.
Yeah.
Or at least I am. I don't know.
Yeah. There's an artist, I think his name is Russell or Russ.
Russ, yeah.
And he had a book. I put it on my book list. I like to read a lot. But I had read a couple pages out of his book, and he talked about that in one of his books. And
really?
I thought it was interesting. I was like, man, are we seeking this outside validation? And it was crazy because he talks about once he got it,
that it wasn't what you thought it was.
It wasn't, like, literally didn't cure any depression or anything he was dealing with, and he had to, like, obviously end up. Everyone loves to say the quote unquote, you got to work and, battle these demons internally first or whatever. But shout outs to him. But I did read a couple pages and I was like, you know what? I think I'm gonna check out his book because I would hate to constantly feel like what you just described just to get to the end goal. Right. To end up what he described,
But I mean, that's one of the things where I guess that comes along with the saying where everybody's like, money doesn't, buy happiness. And it's like, well, I'd like to first of all find that out for my fucking self. Let's start there. All right. And how often do you see somebody on a jet ski not smiling?
Well, I agree on, I can agree on, it's weird because I have a nice, cool balance of friends. I have some friends that are millionaires, and then I have friends that are broke.
Right.
And I definitely have a buffet of different option of friends. But like I just try to
just all from New York. None of them are native LA, right?
No, they're all there's some from you know, you're right. I do have more friends from LA. But I do, and matter of fact, now that I think about it, some of them do ride almost as hard as my New York.
She just can't give it. You can't give it though,
Very
can you?
close.
You just almost. You just can't give it to him, huh?
Shout
Give
out
it to him.
Nikki
It's
and
okay.
Jenna, man. Ain't nothing like a day oneer, man.
You can give it to him. It's okay. New York ain't gonna hate you because you love LA.
Let me tell you something. A couple years ago, it's so weird. I have two best friends that went to two different high schools, and for whatever reason, every time I go to New York, I always kept them separate. And one year I was hanging out with Tia, and I brought her to New York with me, and I put two of my best friends in a room, first time ever. And I don't know why it never occurred to me before, but now it's like a squad of three of us. I'm like, bitch, you never had to like divide your time between these two girls. You could have had them all at the same time your whole life. But
and sharing their friendship. And that's the thing. But that's
awesome. Now we're on group text.
But that's what I'm talking
awesome.
about, the circle. You got to find your circle, no matter where you go. And it's like, you're going to attract the sort of people that you are. So it's like, that's why I attract smart mouth ass women, because I'm a smart mouth ass dude.
To me,
because you're a smart ass. You got a smart ass mouth.
Yeah, probably do.
Yeah.
You know,
you say some slick. What the fuck you just say to me? Shit too. Okay, it ain't just me.
Trust and believe. Lately, I've been realizing my smart ass mouth because I've gotten.
Oh, you got yourself in some trouble?
Yeah, lately I'm like.
See, I got all that trouble out early, so I knew I was trouble.
I had a situation that happened yesterday. I said, "Oh man, you need to chill out before you in a bad situation."
Yep.
Yeah, I had a rough situation last night where it was like, you may have to learn a lesson from this one.
There's always something to be learned.
But okay, we're gonna probably close out because I know we went over time. But I do want to circle back to the one question that I know everybody asks, but seeing your journey has been all of bumpy. Mm-hmm. What advice would you honestly give your younger self for the road ahead?
It's gonna be okay. No matter how bad it gets, everything's temporary. Money, love, fucking life, it's all temporary. Feelings are temporary. When you feel like you're at, like it's over, it's not over. Take a couple naps, push through it. And it's gonna, like, you can't be happy without being sad.
Yeah. Well, I've gotten to the place at 40. Shout out to me, 40.
Talk that shit. Looking
I
25.
I tell people all the time, man, I don't pursue happiness. I can give a crap about happiness. I'm all about peace. Give me a flat line all day. I'm good with that. Like, I realize that on the other side of happiness is the polar opposite. And
100%.
I'll stay. Yeah. I will gladly not ride the roller coaster and just take the train.
I mean,
you know what I'm saying?
I hear you because it sounds good. And that's the stability in knowing yourself and how you react to things and how to handle your feelings. Because unfortunately, you ain't in control of your happiness and sadness all the time.
Yeah.
Is what it is. There's things way beyond your control that are going to fuck with your peace. So.
Damn, smoking. You speaking real mature. Yeah, you right.
I've been through some shit. Yeah. It just is what it is. And that's
therapy. This is a therapy show.
That's what I always want to do I think we talked about it once where I said I want to do a podcast called Free Therapy.
Do it here if you want.
That's, man, one more fucking thing I got to do. Do you know how much I fucking work like 18 hours a day as it is?
It's up to you. Tell people how they could keep up with Nikal Fieldz.
Well, you can catch me on, all social media stuff, Nikal Fieldz, NikalFieldz. You can text me at, haha, fooled you. I mean, that's really it.
You could text me at haha, fooled you?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. You thought,
I thought you said, haha, I'm a fooled you.
Yeah, nah. I mean, that's really it. You just catch, I'm not hard to find. Not that hard to find. That's why I have to start watching my big mouth.
What would be some of the pieces of advice would you give to someone else that is seeking to get placement in movies or writing credits?
Get out of the bedroom. Get out of you can't, you want to spend time owning your craft and developing it in the studio, and things of that nature. But you see it all the time. It's it's all about the network.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about who you know. You can wrap dog shit in tinfoil and market it properly. And it's the sad truth. You know, it is what it is. So it's like, don't do it for the right reasons as far as the music stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta like this. It's not everybody looks at the glamour and glitz side of it, but it's a lonely road.
Yeah.
Even, you know, and they say it's lonely at the top, you know, and my only thing with that is I think it's only lonely at the top if you forget to bring the people with you. Yeah. Or you forget who helped you get there, then it's only at the top.
Yeah, I can see that. That's a great nugget.
Yeah, so.
All right, y'all. Well, thank you for feeding me. Red beans and rice tasted good. Definitely, for balling on a budget, it's a good meal. It's a good meal. Yeah. Not bad at all.
Look, especially put some hot sauce on it.
Yeah.
You need the hot sauce.
The red hot definitely helped it. But thank y'all for tuning in. Peace out.